I'm going to share this message that is a very powerful message from the spiritual dimension for those of us who have taken on a human body and are here on University Earth, Soul University Earth, where it gets scary sometimes. Decades ago, I was giving someone a reading, like a psychic reading or like a channeling, you could say. I was connecting with their spirit guides because they were having a hard time hearing the guidance directly. I was serving the role as interpreter or translator or intermediary, I guess is the right word. I was tuning into their spirit guides and telling my friend what they were saying, and they said something that was puzzling to me, but very powerful. I could feel the power behind the words, but mentally I was puzzled by it. And later I was giving a reading to someone else, and the same exact message came through. And I was like, here's the same exact message. This is strange. And then I heard another reader, I think, give it to me or give it to someone else. And then over the years, I kept hearing this same message coming from the spiritual dimension into our human dimension here on Earth. And it always struck me as very powerful, but I always had kind of a problem with it too. I always kind of struggled with it. It was hard for me to accept. The other day, this message came through me when I was recording a video for you guys, but it was very quick and I wanted to do it again and make it a little longer and fill it in a little, make it a little more understandable. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to share this message that is a very powerful message from the spiritual dimension for those of us who have taken on a human body and are here on University Earth, Soul University Earth, where it gets scary sometimes, it gets brutal sometimes, where we get tremendously hurt sometimes. And also there's tremendous beauty here and pleasure and connection and all these wonderful things also, thank God. But let's not make light of how intense it can get here at the same time, especially in recent years where I think it's very common for us to feel like life is getting crazy. There's so much instability, so much of our traditional grounding through family, through stable employment, through things like gender roles, just the roles that we play in society, through just kind of knowing what to expect and what to do. There's like a stability that used to be there that is just being overturned. Everything feels like it's being overturned and no one knows exactly how they're supposed to be or what we're supposed to do. And it doesn't feel like we can rely on relationships anymore, and we can't rely on employment anymore or making our bills. Just everything feels like up in the air, and it looks like there's even more instability coming. And so this is the perfect time to share this very short and simple message from the spirit world with you. And that message is, everything is gonna be okay. And I know it probably doesn't feel like that. That's why I had such a hard time with this message decades ago when I channeled it myself from spirit guides for a friend. They told my friend, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. And my mind's going like, well, wait, my friend actually has real problems. Why are you telling him not to worry and everything's gonna be okay? These are like real problems he's got. That's not what they're saying. They're not saying we don't have problems. What they're saying is, don't worry. Everything is going to be okay. That's the perspective from that higher dimension. They're looking down. They're seeing what we're going through. They see how scared we get sometimes, how freaked out we get sometimes. But they're seeing the bigger picture. Just like when you're up in an airplane looking down, you see more than, a couple hundred yards around you. You see the entire city. They see the bigger game being played here. They're not saying that you're not going to feel pain sometimes. They're not saying that people you love won't go away sometimes. They're not saying you won't ever have a health issue or you won't ever have a financial issue. They're not saying you're going to get everything you want. They're not saying your body's going to live forever. They're not saying any of that. What they're saying is everything is going to be okay. Everything is okay right now. This dimension is being dreamed. You could say it's like a virtual reality video game that our soul is playing in order to learn and grow. It's a flight simulator. When you join the Air Force, they train you in flight simulators. It's very realistic. It's got a big wraparound screen. It's got all the buttons that you'll have in the real jet that they're not going to let you fly yet because those things cost millions of dollars. You first learn how to fly in this flight simulator where you can't really be hurt. But the flight simulator simulates emergencies, huge problems. One of your engines catches fire and your plane starts to do this. How do you react? What do? You learn how to handle that and land the plane. And then you grow in experience and in wisdom and in knowledge. That's what the earth is. Sim Earth. There's an old video game. Maybe it's still around. I don't know. We're in a simulator. Instead of wearing goggles and having a screen, we're wearing one of these things. And these things are really intense because you can feel everything. It's like your nervous system is super sensitive and your soul is kind of like bonded into the nervous system. And we've all been given some strategic amnesia so that we don't remember our greater nature by default, unless you're like an avatar type person. Those are very rare. They come here just to help, not to learn. We come here with amnesia of our greater nature, of our history, of our eternity, so that we take things seriously here, seriously enough that we're invested in it. If we weren't invested, we wouldn't really grow. If we couldn't be hurt here, at least to a certain degree, if we couldn't feel pain here, we wouldn't be invested. There's actually a genetic disorder where children are born with the inability to feel pain. They can break their legs and it doesn't hurt. They'll just keep walking on the broken leg. They can cut themselves, burn themselves, batter and beat themselves, and they don't feel it. One of the results is they don't live very long because they don't take injury seriously. They usually end up dying young because they get killed. They injure themselves. They're not invested. Without that pain, we don't really invest. And if we're not taking it seriously and we're not invested, we don't really grow. We don't learn. we just kind of keep skipping class. It's sort of like being a drug addict. Drug addicts are skipping class. They said, screw this. This is too painful. I can feel good if I take this substance. I'm going to skip class. So the reason we don't get this message all the time, that everything is going to be okay, is because our guides want us to have a certain amount of tension, because for a lot of us, we're in resistance. We don't want to learn. We don't want to get the lessons. And so there has to be a certain amount of pain and tension and fear sometimes to kick us in the butt and make us take it seriously and learn and grow. So this message may not be the best thing for everyone to hear, but it came through me the other day, and I also think things are weird enough right now that we could all benefit from hearing this message. This message is not going to take away all of our dynamic tension that we need in order to grow. Often, there's too much dynamic tension. For a lot of us, we won't let this message in all the way and fully relax. But I think we need to hear it. A lot of us especially. Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. You're actually safe. No, you will not get everything you want. No, your body will not live forever. Yes, people will come and go. Yes, there are dangers and stresses and things that cause us pain. But beneath these turbulent waves is an ocean of calm and peace and safety and love and connection. And that ocean is your deeper being. Most of us are living up in the turbulent waves, and we're not noticing this deeper being where safety is already here. Don't worry. You're safe. Everything's going to be okay. Try to get the lessons you're here to get, and trust that you're being held by invisible arms, because you are.